family, it's Tasha, Mom Bear Prepping. So you already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Let's talk about it. That's my last cup of coffee and it's so delicious. So let's get into this. We're going to talk today about food. Surprise, surprise. And we're going to talk about why it's so important. You guys might have seen the thumbnail, right? About the Amish gentleman who got basically, an order to stop selling meat, producing stuff. Now, I saw the story just like everybody else a few days ago. And when I see stories like this, I try not to immediately jump on it and be like, you know what, this is the truth. This is what we're going to talk about. This is what's going on. And if you've watched me for a while, you know Tasha doesn't play when I talk about fortification, hiding preps, hiding and playing, all these things that have to do with somebody coming to get my food, whether that's an individual person, a group of people, or whether that's an entity or a government, whatever it is. This is something that's important to me. Okay. So I don't want to take away from that fact. What I want to talk about though is, seeing information like this, seeing and watching and doing your own research and seeing what happens. Come to find out, that gentleman had signed some documents, had done some business, some sort of business with them. And basically that's what they got him on, right? Now, we've all heard all types of stories going on. Land grabs, incentives for farmers to stop farming, or bad stuff, right? Farmers being shut down. Hey, you're using the wrong fertilizer, you're using the wrong this, you're using the wrong that, you're not in compliance with this or that, and then being shutting down. Also, you have natural stuff, right? You have weather, you have extreme heat, you have drought, you have people, the ability to not get enough water, forest fires. There's all types of reasons that and things that are happening that are affecting our food supply chain. I could probably do a video just on that. And to me, it's clearly overall being attacked from different directions. But what I don't want us to do is just concentrate so much on these little things, but take it for what it is and utilize it and know that it's happening so that you can prepare, so that you can move forward with plans to execute. It is extremely important, more than ever, to be stacking food and producing your own food. You've got to get your own food situation started. You've got to stack food, and then in the theory of hiding it, get in the mindset of that now. Now, do I think that anybody is going to kick in my door anytime soon, government-wise, entity-wise, and demand my food? I do not think so. Okay, I don't think that we're close to that. Do I think one day that could be something that's on the table? Absolutely. Seizures of food, seizures of stuff. We have famine. We've got to collect what people have. The people that hoarded, the people that stacked up, we've got to get that food from them. But I think that's down the road. I think we're a ways off. So don't panic. There's plenty of time. But I do want you to start thinking in your mind and get that mindset of, the day that you're told you can't do something. That's that gentleman's livelihood, right? So what happens when something like that happens to you and your livelihood is taken away all of a sudden? How do you adjust from that? How do you still survive? What have you done today for a day like that? When it comes to survive it. Okay, so I want to talk about 8 things that or things that you can do that have to do with stacking food, producing food, preserving food, basically why and ways to prepare. So I said identify projects of concealment. So I just said it a minute ago, take a walkabout of your house, right? Take a look at each room and think about, okay, is there a place I could do false walls? Is there pieces of furniture in here that have food? Is there any way that I can hide food in plain sight in this room? Okay. And you do that throughout your whole house. Talking closets are a good one for extra space that you could easily put up some sort of false wall and have a little space, right? Cabinetry. How deep is it? Closing off cabinetry, maybe you have some sort of open shelving, and it's built in a way where you can just close it up and nobody is the wiser. They think it's a wall now, right? But it was a built-in shelving unit there at one point. Think about that. I'm not saying go on and do full-on construction right now, but in your mind, be thinking about this. When you're moving forward and you're doing different projects in your home, and you get to a point where maybe you're doing some renovations, or maybe you get to a point where you're like, okay, I have a little bit of money for the wood to do some kind of false wall. Whatever it is, right? There's much smaller things and smaller scale things you can do than putting up some kind of, wall, right? Just shelving alone, putting a backdrop, because shelving goes deep, right? Putting stuff in there and then putting just a basic board piece that makes the shelf look like it's not as deep as it is, and then you've got food back there. There's a lot. I've done a couple videos on this already. I'll try to find them. One of them did pretty good, so it'll be easy to find. I'll try to find the other one and link them in the description box below. You guys check those out, okay? Because they have ways to hide food, ways to organize stuff in a way that you can hide food in plain sight. There's a lot of insight in the comments as well of people sharing where they hide stuff, how they do it, how they hide stuff in plain sight, all of that good stuff, okay? Next thing I have is build and bury a cache. So I talked about this. I didn't really talk about it, but I hit on it the other day. I said, hey, get you a bucket, get you a plastic bucket or a tote, whatever. Put some stuff in there and bury it, and tell me how you feel after you do that, okay? This doesn't have to be a big, huge tote. You can do this on a much smaller scale just to get the idea of how it felt to dig that hole, to bury that said cache, right? Maybe if you have land or you have another situation, you have somewhere that you're bugging out or whatever, maybe you're burying the cache in this location and not your home. But bury something and figure out and see how that makes you feel knowing that you've buried something. Caches, when it comes to caches, you can do, I feel like there's two different cache types. There's a food and water cache, which is basically just that. It's all food and water. It's in a cache and that's it. It might be a tote that has all freeze-dried food that you freeze-dried. Maybe it's a tote of Mountain House two meal, 2-man packs, heat up packs. Maybe it's a tote full of MREs, right? It's just food and water, right? Bury those totes. Then you have a tote that I think is like a catch-all, has everything, right? Has a little bit of food, has a little bit of water, has a little bit of medicine, maybe has some defensive stuff. Again, defensive stuff doesn't have to necessarily, if you don't have a ton of weapons, it doesn't have to be a weapon that you now have dedicated to be under the ground and you don't even have access to it. But maybe that is a thing because, again, it's something that we totally expect in the future somebody to try to come and take your weapons. So this could be a thing. But there's much cheaper things. Getting a pack of pepper spray and just putting some pepper spray in those caches, putting some knives, whatever it is, okay? There's different things that you could put in there as a defensive, but it's a cache for kind of everything, a catch-all, okay? You know that if you want to bury that thing, it's going to have a little bit of everything in it, okay? Maybe it's a survival cache, right? Where, hey, this is your bug out cache. You get to it. It has a little bit of survival stuff, has stuff to make fire, has some medicine, has some defensive, has some sheltering type stuff because you're on the go. I spoke many months ago about burying gas or having gas caches along a freeway or along a route that is planned to be a bug out location, and how you could possibly go about hiding fuel on the way to your route and how you would do that. That's difficult. That's not the easiest thing to do at all. And you're not burying that gas, but we discussed a long time ago about having these caches, if you will, of gas in strategic places, throughout your route, right? To your location, right? That if you were trying to bug out, because it's not it doesn't make sense for a lot of people to prep gas, and then 2, to be able to have it in the vehicle with you and your family while you're driving, and 3, to even have enough gas that you're carrying with you to even take you a good distance to a different location. Okay, that would be a problem that people don't think about, is gas when you're going somewhere. So think of caches, right? Think of different caches, get one, build one, bury it. Okay. Next thing I have is continue to stack food. That's an easy one. That's a no-brainer. Just continue to stack food, get it from the store. Next one I have is continue to grow food, both indoor and outdoor. I'm trying to finish the medical room first before I start this big adventure of really starting an indoor garden. I really want to give it a lot of thought and do it right when I do it. And I'm going to show you guys that on a video, because I want to really mentally separate the two, that I have this outside space and garden, right, where I grow food and I do this, but I also want to think very smartly. The indoor is more of survival, like what is the true survival things I need to keep us going, to help supplement us with some fresh stuff in the smaller space, with possibly no lighting, right? If we don't have power, maybe we have some power. What does that look like, right? What will that take away from our solar generators in order to keep that food growing? That type of thing. Okay, so I want to give it some thought. The next thing I have is continue to get the things that have to do with growing food. Continue to get seeds and stack seeds. Seeds. You can't have too many seeds. Continue to, if you haven't already, for me this year, this is my first year of collecting seeds, keeping seeds from the food you're growing. Heirloom seeds is what you want when you're buying them. Getting extra garden tools. It's something as simple as a tool and gloves and things like that. That matters. Extra fertilizer, figuring out your compost, just getting all the things. What else did I put? I want to make sure. So I did. Oh, books. Getting books, right? Getting your literature that teaches you about growing food and small acreage and how to do it on small plots, and all these things that teach you about food, companion planting, everything. Get these books, get this literature while you can now. Next thing I have is write out your homemade recipes. So I'm learning a lot with gardening, and there's a lot of different, for example, natural remedies to get rid of pests and insects, and get rid of this and get rid of that, and different things to attract stuff to your garden, and pollinator stuff. And so there's just all this information. There's all these different types of recipes, natural stuff. Get that stuff, right? Write that stuff down as you learn it. Write it down and make sure that you have that so that you can go back and use it again. Because if it worked, if it's something that you did and it worked, you're going to want to remember how you did it before. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff that for example, a lot of natural stuff that you can add to water, that you put on your garden when you water it. That's amazing, right? And does different things to help bolster your garden, keep it, healthy, right? And pest-free, insect-free. Okay. So start writing those down. The next thing I have is watch videos and research about hiding food and protecting your food, right? Lots of videos. I'm going to link mine below, but there's lots of people that talk about fortification, hiding food, caches, different ways to do caches. There's just a ton of information out there. So while you have the internet, while you have power, research that stuff, learn that stuff, figure out exactly what it is you're trying to do, get those ideas while you can just get them at, push of a button. All right. And then the last thing I have is, continue to preserve food, right? So you grow, harvest, preserve it. If you're buying stuff, preserve it. I seen, I think her name of her channel is Purposeful Pantry. I might be wrong. Anyway, this lady, she has a channel and it's all about dehydrating food. Everything she does on her channel, dehydrating food. She's like the queen of it. She did a post the other day where she was so disturbed because somebody was mentioning about, they liked her channel or something, but then they were leaving because they saw she was dehydrating store-bought food, right? So this is my thing. You cannot buy into doing things the way people want you to do it. You have to push your own envelopes. You have to trust in your stuff, your own gut, right? And yourself, trust in yourself to get things done and to get things done for your family, right? This lady is doing amazing work, showing all the stuff she's dehydrated over the years. She's showing you tricks and tips. She's showing you stuff to not dehydrate. She just has so much information. And for somebody to be like, well, it's not organic, and I saw it was store-bought, and da-da-da, and it wasn't, you didn't grow it, and who cares? It's just like people that say, oh, you should only grow food. Why are you stacking food? Don't stack food. That's the wrong skill to learn. You need to learn how to grow it yourself. Yes, although that is true, you need to learn to grow food yourself. How are you to be so simple-minded and not understand the importance of stacking food? You've got to do all the things. You need to grow food, learn to produce stuff with your hands in the dirt. You need to learn how to harvest it, how to preserve it, but you also need to be smart and stack food. It's there now. Okay, so stack the food. And it's the same, right? You should be dehydrating everything. It's the same with tinctures, for example, right? Tinctures, as I'm doing different tinctures, I'm making sure that I have those seeds and that plant in my garden, so that I can get it started. But I'm immediately buying the dried product or buying the product from somebody so that I can do the tinctures today, so I can get tinctures going today. But I'm thinking about the future as far as growing it myself, having the seeds to grow it, that type of thing, right? It's the same thing. It's the whole picture of being prepared. You don't just do one thing, you give yourself options, and you don't listen to people when they are so simple-minded to say like, well, you bought that from the store and then you're going to preserve it from the store. Yeah, I'm going to, okay? Just ridiculous, okay? Yes, learn how to do it yourself, but by all means, time is of the essence. An urgency needs to be there, and you need to give yourself options, okay, to get things done now and to get things done in the future when you want to continue to do these things, okay? And so that's my game plan. I think of how can I grow stuff? How can I have seeds to, like, say I have to leave somewhere. I'm building a seed bank that hopefully will survive and that I can take with me if I have to flee my home. Right? Planting this stuff on my property now so that I have it so it can start to mature over the years, right? And get healthy and big and can be something that I can actually preserve from later, right? This notion of like there's the when you're either a homesteader or you're a prepper, they're not the same, whatever. No, the end game is we're all trying to survive. We're all trying to preserve something and have a certain level of a self-sufficient type of life. People that stack food, they're stacking it because they want to be self-sufficient. They want to be ready for a crisis. That's no different than somebody who has a piece of land and is growing a ton of food because they want to be self-sufficient and they want to be able to be ready for a crisis and feed their family, okay? It's no different. It all meshes together, okay? Put a 1 in the chat right now if you agree that prepping, self-sufficiency, homesteading, like all of that, those two worlds, they easily combine together, okay? And so I don't like labels of like, I'm a homesteader or I'm a prepper. No, I'm just a mama bear that wants to prepare for different things that might come our way, and be ready for that so that life doesn't turn into just total chaos because things switch too fast and we're not mentally ready for that change. Things are going to change, things are going to happen, but if you're prepared, your mental game is not, it stays more intact, right? Because you're mentally ready because you have prepared, okay? That's my list, you guys. I just, I feel bad for that man and other farmers, but to be honest, he's one of tons of people. People have known for a very long time that Amish folks, that's in their DNA, that preservation, that preparedness, that's what those people are about, right? They're more than that. But do you know what I'm saying? It's a known fact that people know, boy, they prepare, right? As well as other groups, right? And I think it's important to learn from that, right? And things are going to happen. We're going to be targets at some point in the future. If not now, there's small targets on our backs here and there. It's just like why I got rid of Facebook last year, about a year and a half ago, got rid of it when they started saying, do you know somebody who prepares a little too much? That was freaky to me, okay? I did not like that. That freaked me out, and I was gone. I was out of there. So we're already targets. It's why I buy a lot. I do on my card. I buy, my every 2 weeks, paycheck, food, right? And then everything else is cash. I try not to do anything that where they can openly track, oh, she bought all this food, or she bought all of this, or she bought this whatever, right? I try to keep it as minimized as possible of them paying attention. They tracking us everywhere. Everywhere. Our phones track us, everything tracks us, okay? I trust nothing. And so I just think that it's very, very important to think that these things could absolutely happen. But that's why we prepare now. And just know that in the future, you could do stuff now, and years from now, major stuff could happen. And it's kind of like, okay, major stuff happens, they come in, they clean you out. But then again, I'm talking about that mental, you'll be okay knowing, you're going to be pissed, but you'll know, okay, we're going to make it. We've got some caches, we've got some stuff hidden that they didn't find, they didn't get, and you're going to be okay, right? But know that it's coming one day. And if you want to be one of these people that is like, it's not going to get that bad. Even hubby looks at me sometimes with my project ideas, like, hey, by the way, I want to do this right here. This I think would be a great area for this or that. And he'd be looking at me like, chick, can you stop? Because again, I'm hardcore, right? And he's hardcore in certain areas. And there's some things though, sometimes he's like, it's just a lot. And I think that there's part of him that still is like, oh man, I don't like, this is something that's going to happen years from now. Like, why are we discussing this? Well, we're discussing it so that we can be ready, so that years from now, when it happens, everything is golden and is going to be okay. And you're going to be thankful, right? So started to go down a rabbit hole right there, but just know, do the things, get the things. There is a reason why we do this stuff. Try not to get flustered when stuff like this is happening. All this land grab, all this craziness that's going on with our food and our food system. Try not to concentrate on that and those stories, but try to concentrate on what you're doing to preserve for your family, okay? I will see you guys. I'm really enjoying these premieres. I'm really, we've only done them this week. I'm enjoying the time off in between the days. That's allowing me to do so much stuff. I literally was in the garden all day yesterday, and it was amazing. I was in the sun, I was in the shade, I was taking water breaks and trying to hydrate. It was hot. Okay, but I was determined. There was stuff I needed to plant. There was just a ton of stuff that I needed to do in the garden, and I got a lot of stuff done. Maybe I'll show you some pictures in the next couple of days, because I feel like I add to it so much. My garden changes so much because I upgrade it. I constantly am adding to it. And yesterday was a beautiful day because I spent all day there. Today I'm going to spend some more time. I'm doing some I'm repurposing some material that I plan to throw away that I'm actually going to use and throw back in my garden to help me with some edging. I'm putting down some more pea gravel today to help my stepping stones. I'm just doing a little bit more in the garden, but not like yesterday. It might take me all day. I don't know. I'm pretty sore from yesterday. But anyway, I hope you guys have a blessed week. I won't see you until Monday. I think Monday, you guys, is going to be the day that I'm going to bring you finally the 2 buckets that Refuge Medical sent me that are for birthing. They're birthing buckets, postpartum bucket, birthing bucket. And we're going to talk about it. This is a topic that's very, very overwhelming. Let me know in the chat right now what you guys think. Are you going to be looking forward to that video on Monday? I'm going to be doing a review of the 2 buckets. I'm going to be showing you exactly what's in the buckets, telling you exactly how much the buckets are. We're going to talk a little bit about preps and birthing preps, other preps that you can get if they're not in the bucket already. And on top of that, we're going to set you up for a free giveaway of those buckets. So basically, we're going to do our video Monday. We're going to figure out how we're going to set up the giveaway. And then we'll do the giveaway later in the week where somebody is going to win those buckets themselves. Okay, so super, super exciting. I was super excited when I first got these buckets, and I've just been putting it off, doing all this other stuff, and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun showing you this new product that they have. Okay, I love Refuge Medical. I have a link in the description box below if you want to check them out. They have all types of wonderful stuff. That's where I got our wound bucket. That's where we have the little boo-boo kit. The little boo-boo kit right there. You know, all types of stuff there. Okay, so Mama Bear is the code. Check them out, you guys. But on Monday, I'm going to bring you that video on postpartum bucket and the birthing bucket that they sent me. Okay, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a beautiful weekend. Take care. Bye.